Wallace playing Wolf Run Ramp.
Can I call him J-Wall?
You can. You can call him William Wallace if you want. Braveheart.
I'm going to call him
I mean, I think Braveheart's accurate. You know, to come into this tournament with Wolf Run.
Very brave.
Delver.
Very brave.
Against all these Delver decks. So there's Josh Cho.
So
off his recent top 8.
I got a Wolf Run deck here.
In Barcelona.
I got 7 Titans in this Wolf Run deck.
7 Titan Wolf Run.
4 Prime, 3 Inferno.
How many Wolves?
4 Huntmasters.
They're not Wolves yet.
Soon.
They may be Wolves.
And I've got, it's pretty standard. It's a little, if you guys are familiar with my deck list, it's a little bit different. He's got an Acidic Slime, he's got a Viridian Emissary, does Green Sun Zenith 4, only 2 Green Suns, 2 Batter Skulls, a Bonfire, 4 Slack Storms, 3 Pillar of the Flame, stuff like that. Only 25 lands, but he does have the Glimmer Post package. It's a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, it looks like he's got 3 Caverns in the board, which seems right. I think it's better to keep the Caverns in the board than the main. He's got 2 Beasts within there in the board. I don't see any main deck.
No main deck for this tournament.
2 Kessig Wolf Runs in the main, none in the board. I know that was something that that people were pointing out about how, like Jerry T's list, for example, could Phantasmal Image Titan getting 2 Ghost Quarters and take out the Wolf Runs, and then you'd be out of Wolf Runs. So Josh with an island, unglued island, right? Yeah.
And while Joey talks about the game, I'll just give you guys an idea of Josh's deck list. It's pretty standard deck list that you guys have seen from Jerry. I actually don't think that Josh has changed the main deck card. He has
1 extra Angel.
He has 1 extra Restoration Angel. He has the 2 Cavern Souls like Todd has as well. And then
it might be Todd's list. Yeah, it looks like no Thought Scours, an extra Gut Shot.
Yeah, so this is
the
something.
4th Probe, yeah.
If you guys saw the first match, it's pretty much the exact same deck list. And we'll go over it during the sideboard. But just to keep you guys up to speed on what's going on, turn 2 Sphere of the Suns for John, just ramping as he should. Turn 3 Geist of Saint Traft for Mr. Cho.
Yeah. Here's Todd's list. You can take a look and compare it. I'll do the play-by-play.
Okay.
Just to compare. I'm pretty sure it's identical main deck. All right, John has a Slag Storm for the Geist. All right, 1 for 1, just fine with that. Moorland Haunt for Josh. Passes back to John. Inkmoth Nexus. Looks like John wants to cast another... Okay, so he goes with Rampant Growth. Another ramp spell. Resolves. Gets a Forest. So John now will have Titan mana next turn.
I can't get a good look at John's hand, but
it's got Glimmer Post in there. I did see that. Believe there's an Acidic Slime in there. A second Rampant Growth from John, and that appears to resolve as well.
The plan in game 1, if you don't have Cavern in your deck, is to get to 9 mana, so that you can play a Titan through a mana leak.
Right.
That is the plan, and it looks as though he is attempting to execute that plan. Hopefully, while not being under duress from a Delver player, so that you have enough time to do that.
Right. So far, so good then for John.
Yeah.
He's at
so
7,
far, definitely so good.
Access to 7 mana here.
Bless you.
Thank you.
The actually only difference in their deck list, by the way, they're 74 to 75, is that Josh has a 4th Phantasmal Image in his sideboard, where Todd has a Tomato.
Okay. So Josh flashes in the Restoration Angel at the end of John's turn, and now goes on the attack. So Angel Delver, bringing the beats.
This is exactly kind of the reason that I had written this week that basically that Wolf Run is just a lot worse deck now and poorly positioned, is because of Restoration Angel, and you guys will be able to see that probably through this game. We'll see how it plays out, but the way that he can bend things his way and still leave all of his mana open and do what he wants to, while having a 3/4 flyer in play and having Mana Leak available is really powerful. 5 mana, Slime Ball,
Acidic Slime, and John. attempts to take out Moreland Haunt. Moreland Haunt taps for mana, which is standard.
Another one.
And looks like he's going to use it, actually. He says,
Yeah,
you know what?
The mana.
I'll use that mana and 3 more. Cast a second Restoration Angel. And now John is on a 3-turn clock if he can't deal with those angels.
And if Josh has a land, he's in... Oh.
So,
I thought Josh had a sword in his hand and a Glacial Fortress. I could be wrong.
oh, that would have been rough. Plays Glacial Fortress, does not
have
apparently
Glacial
have
Fortress.
sword, or at least didn't want to play it there.
Yeah.
So John now should, if he has a land, can play Titan with Mana Leak backup.
He can play Titan. Now this is one of the things that I don't specifically like about Inferno Titan right now, and why I haven't played it is because
Doesn't kill Restoration
yeah,
Angel.
Inferno Titan doesn't really even affect the board right now. You know, you've done your game plan. You've done exactly what you wanted to do.
Right.
You've gotten a 9 mana. You can conceivably resolve it through a Mana Leak. And what does it even do?
Well, Acidic Slime gets in for 2.
So he's tapping his lands.
And
All right, he has
Primeval
Primeval
Titan.
Okay.
Dion Standers. Prime time.
It's gonna be that's gonna resolve. Now, if you'll notice, if Josh does have Sword of Feast and Famine, which I'm pretty sure he does, John's been pretty careful to leave Inkmoth Nexus up, not take a hit from it.
And
So
looks like he gets a Nexus as one of his lands. As second land is a Keswick Wolfrun. So
I think I'm okay with that particular Primeval Titan. You know, you want to do your best when you're playing this deck to Glimmer Post in even numbers. You know, so that time he could have gotten a Glimmer Post number 2 so that he can get 3 and 4 at an adequate time. But I think for the particular scenario that we're in, I think that's okay.
Alright, so let's see what Josh has.
Number 3.
Restoration Angel number 3. And
2-turn clock.
yep.
Yep.
Swing. Looks like Inkmoth Nexus wants to chump block, leaving an angel slightly smaller than the other 2.
So he's gonna go to 6.
Still
I know
a 2-turn clock.
I know that Josh has Dismember in his hand. It's actually not gonna. It is and it isn't a 2-turn clock, just because he has another Nexus in play. So his Nexus would block one of the 3/4 ones.
Right.
And he'd take 5 down to 1.
Oh, good call.
So what's looks like is going to happen here is John might actually be able to win this game because he's gonna post up now.
So Glimmer Post, Glimmer Post. Oh, drops a Inferno
You don't get a
Titan
third
by
land.
accident.
And you certainly don't get a Primeval Titan when you attack with that. Or I would never stop playing this game.
When you attack with Primeval Titan, search your library for a card named Primeval Titan and put it into play.
Yeah, and 2 lands. It's no
Yeah.
big deal. So if I can, I'd love to get an idea. Okay, so he has Inferno Titan.
And
I actually
that
think-
can kill the other angel there.
Now this is interesting because okay, he let that resolve. So Josh has Mana Leak in his hand, and if he leaks it, John really is in no position to pay for it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because he can't activate the Inkmoth Nexus if he taps out.
So I'm not sure if he confirmed that Inferno Titan is in play or not yet, but if he leaks it, he can't afford to pay it, and then... Actually, that's not true. That's not true because he's at 12 now, he's not at 6 anymore.
Oh yeah,
That's
I mean,
not true.
he wouldn't be dead.
Yeah.
But I mean, he can't block.
I was thinking that if he leaked it, he'd be...
Right, that would be game, right.
But that's why Glimmer Post is oh so delicious. Alright, happily pays.
So, Mana Leak, John
Bye-bye,
pays,
Restoration Angel.
kills the smaller angel with the Inferno Titan.
So it looks like to me, it's going to be pretty important for Josh to draw a Vapor Snag here.
So what does he have? I think I saw a Snapcaster. There's a
See a
probe.
probe.
It's going to pay for probe with mana. Show me what you got. Sphere of the Suns. That's it. All right, draw for probe. Sees card that we can't.
He hit that one well.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Josh doing some, looks like doing maybe some math there, tapping his fingers on the board. I
see a gut shot, and I'm almost positive there's a dismember there as well.
Trying to make sure he can live long enough to kill John.
Well, see, that attack for 3, I mean, I understand that, he has to do something, but that attack for 3 doesn't really do very much when he's got another Glimmer Post in his deck, just to kind of negate the attack. He's going to gain 4 life and go to 13. So, I actually think that John has... Right now, it looks as though he's going to win.
Yeah.
He's got a Wolf
Josh
Run.
Doesn't seem... Yeah.
He's got a Wolf Run underneath there. He's got an Infernal Titan trigger and a Primeval Titan trigger coming.
Yeah, oddly, Josh drew all the Restoration Angels, well, 3 of the 4, and really not much else. When you think about the way this game went, it was like Geist traded for Whip Flare, and then it's been all Angels. He had like a Mana Leak and a Probe. Not very representative of the deck.
Yeah, I would agree.
No snags, no ponders, no... He has a Snapcaster, but it's been useless. So John Wallace takes game 1 on the back of a pair of Titans and triple Glimmer Post to keep him out of range of Josh's Restoration Angels.
So what do you see? Josh boarding in here?
All right, Josh has 4 Phantasmal Image. I can absolutely see those coming in. 2 Ghost Quarter, same thing. I think that's kind of the plan here. You go Phantasmal Image, you can copy Titans, get Ghost Quarters to take out whatever, most likely Wolf Run, but obviously Ink Moth can be relevant as a blocker too.
Same with Cavern of Souls too.
Right, or Cavern of Souls. He's got a Divine Offering, which is nice way to take care of a Sphere of the Suns. Not necessarily a hardcore like grab it, definitely put it in, but he's got I could see him bringing a Divine Offering. He's got the Consecrated Sphinxes.
Yeah,
see those coming in. Yeah, so I think that's the main stuff. Maybe amass the components. I'm not sure about amass the components as much, just because I'm not even totally clear on what it's for. It doesn't ever seem terrible, but it doesn't ever seem.
It's just
great.
kind of
it's
when
just
you
like an extra way to gain some card advantage.
Yeah, it's just kind of the kind of card that just brings everything together. Yeah. Just take you through the mid game to the late game, to your Sphinxes, to your equipment, that sort of thing. On John's side, I see 2 Beasts Withins in his sideboard. A lot of people have talked about how that, we talked about that today, how it kind of takes care of Restoration Angel, not really a profitable way, but it gets the job done. So I could see bringing those in. I see a natural end, and a lot of people know that these guys have access to Sword of Feast and Famine. So I could very easily see them bringing that in. I see 2 Ancient Grudges that I could see him bringing in as well. He also has 3 Cavern of Souls, which are presumably going to come in, and then I see a Whip Flare and Bonfire of the Damned, and I don't like Bonfire in this matchup at all. I'm perfectly fine with Whip Flare coming in. Takes care of all threats except for Restoration Angel, and if the goal is to trade 1-for-1 still, which was what I had noticed when I was testing the deck a lot, that's just another way to take care of guys at St. Travel. You want that 5th way to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, like, this is where things really get tough for the Wolf Run player. Image is the most painful card to play against. From the Wolf Run side.
Your whole plan is, dropping ridiculous threats, and if your opponent can just pay 2 mana to get the same thing.
Yeah, pay 2 mana to mirror those threats, and then pay 1 to bounce the threat and make you cast it again.
Yeah.
That's where things get tough. It's a pain to play against, without a doubt. But I mean, John executed what I consider that to be the game 1 game plan. Is if you have the opportunity to play around Mana Leak, if your draw allows for you to do that, then that's what you do.
Right.
And then he did that
exactly
game,
that,
and then he won. Glimmer Post kept him alive just long enough, which is typically what happens. And you're able to get your Ink Moss to do some chump blocking. Then you have to inevitably set up with Kessig Wolf Run as well.
Yep.
So everything that could possibly have gone right that game for the Wolf Run player if I had my dream scenario of how things would go against Delver, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, Josh was not really able to pressure John too much while he was working on getting that 9 mana. You know, it was like I think John was at 7 mana when Josh flashed in the first Angel.
Yeah.
You know, so it was wasn't too much further for John to go.
And Restoration Angel, as good as it is against this deck, I don't think it doesn't do it by itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's part of the plan.
Right.
Josh is going to keep, and John is going to mulligan. Now, one thing that I don't want to say people don't understand, but maybe some people don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know this when I started playing Ramp, is that the deck does not mulligan very well at all. Okay, you have to keep, for lack of a better term, loose hands, because the deck doesn't have any sorts of card drawing. You know, so you're not going to be able to see a lot of cards a game or filter with ponders and probes and all that sort of stuff. So you have to keep some pretty mediocre to bad hands and hope that things pan out. Because once you start going to 6 and 5, you know, then it's you can't overcome the fact when you're drawing Rampant Growth as your draw step for the turn when you need a business spell,
right,
that sort of thing. So it's a deck, you know, for John, he's on the draw this game, so you know that can kind of undo his mulligan.
Yeah.
But you know, when he gets into, if he has a mulligan to 6, you know, that's when you're going to get in the territory where it's like, I need these 6 cards to be pretty good because I can't afford to go to 5.
Yeah. Well, he's going to take a look. He's got a Pittsburgh Penguins shirt on. If he's a Steelers fan,
you gonna be mad about that?
I think I'm going to have to root for Josh. So, Josh, turn 1 ponder. That's his first ponder of the match.
Yeah, a little selection. I see in John's hand, I see a Surgical Extraction. I see a Rampant Growth.
Yep.
And I see a red card there. I
think it was Whip Flare?
It's either Whip Flare or Slagstorm.
Okay.
It's got to be one of the Pyro.
I think it was Slagstorm. I think I said Whip Flare, even though I thought I was picturing Slagstorm.
Sure. Another Rampant Growth there. So long as he has a second land, and he just moved his Rootbound Crack to the front. So I mean, this hand's okay.
Forest for John,
and now we can stop guessing.
Yeah, Josh is going to show us John's hand, and we've got double Rampant Growth, Rootbound Crag, Surgical Extraction, Slagstorm, and Green Sun Zenith.
Okay, this hand's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, if I'm Josh, I guess I'm okay with. It's acceptable for John, and I think it's acceptable for Josh. Like, he's not super scared of what's coming.
Yeah,
I don't think some time.
Yeah, I think that pretty much addresses it perfectly. He's not super scared of what's coming, but you know, there's some things coming on here. He just drew a Solemn, which is a really good draw step. He's got to draw. It's really important that he draws his 4th land on time here and have it not be a Copperline Gorge. But the way that Solemn's gonna be able to turn this game is actually pretty important.
So Rampant Growth from John gets a mountain.
So now he's got access to a Slagstorm. He's gonna be able to. He can pretty much cast all the spells. But right now, what's gonna happen is, if he draws the 4th land, you know, Solemn may or may not resolve. But if he doesn't draw the 4th land and he has to catch Rampant Growth 4 land, that might spark something from Josh to go, okay, I'm gonna leak that. You know, and then that might be a situation where he burns a leak where he would not otherwise, maybe.
Right. All right, Josh. Draws for the turn, plays Glacial Fortress, passes back. John looks at his top card looking for a miracle, and it is an Inkmoth Nexus. So that was the miracle that he wanted.
Yeah.
And Solemn Simulacrum. So does Josh have an answer for that? Seems to be considering a mana leak.
Slid something forward. That's okay.
Well, that's a resolve. Alright.
So now he's going to be able to start chipping away. Now, depending on what John's draw step is next turn. You know, ideally, in a perfect world, he would just, you know, Green Sun Zenith for Master of the Fells, start to get his attack on, maybe, you know, put some onus on Josh to flip it, not flip it, that sort of thing.
Right.
And you know, if he doesn't want to do that, he elects not to do that, he can Rampant Growth safely through a mana leak. So It all depends on what his draw step is, but the nice thing here for John is that he has options, whereas for Josh, we don't really have a very good look at his hand. I don't know if you saw anything, really.
I haven't been able to see what he's got. He's kind of got his hand in the shadow, too. Like, it must be, the lighting must not be that great on that side, because I'm noticing how much better we're always seeing the guy on the right.
But I think I saw a Restoration Angel over there, but image is, okay.
So, Josh uses Phantasmal Image to copy John's Solemn Simulacrum. Josh getting, presumably, well, he could go Plains or Island here, probably Island. Yeah, goes Island.
Oh, that makes me think that maybe he's got another image in the holster.
Yeah, me too, because not wasting an image, but using one of your images on something like Solemn Simulacrum when you know that there are bigger things to copy on the way.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assumption.
How do we do for our draw step? Batterskull.
Oh, a Batterskull. And he's on 5 mana, so he could certainly attempt it. That would certainly draw at the mana leak if it's there. So John decides he wants to, looks like he decides he wants to save the Batterskull for...
He just wants to play something that can slide through mana leak.
Yeah, he wants to save that Batterskull for when he can more likely resolve it.
That's interesting, because if you're on John's side, and I guess you can play Josh. You know, Josh, when John cast Solemn Simulacrum, Josh definitely thought about it for a little while.
Yeah.
Kind of moved some cards around in his hand, and then said, okay, that's fine. And even for both of us, we're not 100% positive if he has leak in his hand. So for John, you know, John draws Batterskull. He has 5 mana. He also has Green Sun to get Hunmaster of the Fells. So, you know, do you run one of these spells into mana leak, or do you try to keep playing around it? Because the more that you try to play around mana leak, the more it opens up for Josh just to sit there and then do the Restoration Angel game.
Right.
You know, play all of these games that lean into Delver's favor.
Yeah.
Now, what John could have done is, you know, if he wanted to know that information, he could have very easily just surgical extraction something.
Yeah, and then he could have seen the hand and
to
then
get a good idea of what his hand is.
Yeah, using surgical extraction as kind of a probe. So Inkmoth Nexus looks like it's bringing the infected beats here, and it gets a Vapor Snag.
That's not a big deal at all. And truthfully, I'm not a big fan of that play. And the reason why is because
look at that extraction for Vapor Snag.
Now he's going to get the information. So there's a couple things I'm going to go back and forth on here really quickly for you. So John hadn't played a land that turn. So by bouncing that, he gets to replay his land. So it's not really a loss for John.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if you're going to surgical extraction his Vapor Snags, you know, you're going to want to do it on either Josh's draw step, so that if he catches a Vapor Snag in his draw step, you can get it, or on his turn, so he can get information, so that he can safely cast a Batterskull. So I love John's attack,
but you don't like the follow up.
Yeah, but I don't like the
timing of the extractions.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Okay, that makes sense to you?
Yes, definitely. Although I do have to say, it looks like not having access to Vapor Snag is pretty rough, I think, for Josh.
It definitely makes a difference. I mean, and if you look at Josh's hand, you're going to see 2 Restoration Angels, a Dismember, and an image. So we were right about him having a second image. And I was pretty sure he had 1 Restoration Angel. I didn't know that he had Dismember. But now it gets, you know, now for John's just going to slam Batterskull next turn.
Yeah, there's no mana leak.
There's no reason for him not to. You know, if he drew a mana leak, so be it. But now he's just going to slam it into play. And looking at Josh's hand, he has no good answer for it. You know, Image doesn't do anything against it, and Restoration Angel was pretty dead. I mean, he could dismember the token, I suppose. But Adrian Sullivan here giving me a big high five. He's happy to see my smiling face and rocker fingers. What do they call? That's not the term. Devil horns. That's it. Look, I listen to so much Carly Rae Jepsen, I don't know what they call these things nowadays. What do we draw this turn? It looks like another image. So now that John has all this information about like what Josh has.
Mm-hmm.
A play that he had access to was Grandson Zane for Huntmaster.
Mm-hmm.
Looks a lot worse now.
Yeah.
'Cause it doesn't seem like a very good option anymore.
Batterskull seems fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I think it's going to be slow.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could eat 4 life from Josh and his dismember, right? And then he would just maybe bounce and replay it. You know what I mean? It would be slow, but he seems fairly safe from mana leaks. Obviously, if the first one resolves, or if the Batterskull resolves initially, it's basically Josh will have like 1 draw step to draw another mana leak.
Yeah. So he's going to get in first 2. And yeah, I think we pretty much knew that this was going to happen. And as good as a turn as this might seem like it's going to be, what I predict is going to happen here is he's going to put the token in play. It's going to get this number. Josh is going to go down to 14, and he's going to put a Restoration Angel into play as well. And so now he can commence the attacks. Now at the same time, what's also going to happen on the other side of things now is I think that John is going to be able to equip his Solemn. Okay. I guess he doesn't have to dismember right away. He can dismember on the attack, so it doesn't make it nearly as good of a play. So
Ronnie Rittner, if you're in the room, please come see me up here at the stage. Ronnie Rittner, if you're in the room, please come see me at the stage.
So that attack's going to happen, and maybe he just chump blocks. Maybe he just chump blocks with his Phantasmal Image. That's also an option. I don't think that's what he's going to do, but
right, it's a line of play.
Yeah,
gets a card off it. All right, everybody in.
I mean, and he can even open it up to something as unique as block with Phantasmal Image, play Restoration Angel, target Phantasmal Image with ability, so that image dies, he draws a card from the Solemn copy.
And there's no lifelink.
And there's no lifelink. So this is what makes the Delver deck so interesting. They have a ton of options and tools.
So, declares the image as a blocker. Looks like he's going with that.
Okay.
Restoration Angel. Target the image. Image upon being targeted just is destroyed. It doesn't really matter. Like, you can respond, I guess, but it's destroyed. Draw a card. There's no lifelink. Josh takes 2.
He's going to go to 16. He still has that Batterskull very much under control. Now John has Primeval Titan.
But Josh still has mana leak mana up, and now has drawn, I believe, 2 cards that Josh has mana leak mana up, has drawn 2 cards that John hasn't seen. I think I said John and Josh and mixed the names up at some point. Start calling Josh.
Like he's going to go get Huntmaster the Fells. And so this was the thing that I kind of talked about earlier. This is the thing I was kind of afraid of, because I don't think that this is a very good card given the situation. Now, I can't remember precisely if he knew about the second image from the Surgical Extraction. I don't think he does. I think his hand at the time of Surgical Extraction, it was image, 2 Restoration Angels, and dismember. Okay? So, this just opens, he can copy, he can image his Huntmaster. He still has Batterskull under control with the dismember in his hand, and then we're not exactly sure what the other cards are in his hand. But, I don't think that Huntmaster really has a positive effect on the game. And if you're not going to play around Mana Leak anyway, you might as well just put a Titan into play.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So now he has 2 images in his hand.
Why leave the lone Ink Moth as your only untapped land?
I'm not sure, and that's the second turn he's done that.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up, because I saw it a turn ago, or a couple turns ago, and it's like you can activate it and then not block with it. I mean, I don't get it.
Leaving a mountain up at least gives them the idea or the thought of Galvanic Blast. Even though it doesn't really do very much right now, at least there's the thought of it in your head.
Of like leaving red up. Like leaving,
or even the dual land.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I assumed he would, like, unless you need to tap the dual land, why not leave that untapped? So,
that was a probe. And what we saw was, we saw Viridian Emissary, Slagstorm, and Primeval Titan.
Yeah.
If you can. So we don't have. All right, so in for our
6.
show director, she's helping us out a little bit here.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of trouble with the monitor.
In for 6 with Restoration Angels is going to put him down to, it looks like 8 life, I believe.
Yeah, it should.
Okay.
The color went away.
And
then we have like a loose cord, right?
He's imaging so many things. Yep. So he imaged. Oh no, that's a Delver, and then I believe he imaged. I believe his image was a Restoration Angel. Yep. So he's at 8. He has 9 points of flying in the air. He has 9 points of flying in the air. He has Dismember to take care of that Batterskull Stoking still, so there's still going to be no lifelink. And now John is the one that has the decisions to make. Because now a lot of things can happen.
Yeah.
You know? Now it's do I play a spell? You know, do I play a spell?
Right. Do I want my Huntmaster to flip or not?
You know, does John remember that he has Dismember, so he's actually in no control of that? You know, now that's going to get Dismembered. Yep.
Okay. Dismember your germ.
Well, he does know that he's going to be able to resolve Primeval Titan now. And with being able to do that, he can get post, go up to 12, and hope that Delver doesn't flip to kill him. But that's not the best thing to be hoping for when half their deck is.
Yeah.
Instance. It's not a comfortable spot to be in. So yeah, I mean, John's just sitting here like us. He's got to figure out what his line of play is going to be now. And if he makes it to the next turn, depending on what Josh's hand is, I think that he has a very good shot to win the game, because then an equip of Batterskull is going to happen, and then some things, some life will happen, some things will change. But he's got to make it to that next turn. He needs that Delver not to flip. You know, if he would have drawn a Wolf from this turn, he could have activated it to target the image, something like that. Rampant Growth.
Yeah, not going with the Titan plan. I liked your Titan plan better, because that gets him out of range if the Delver doesn't flip.
Yeah. I mean, he's on the he's at 12, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just trying to analyze the position on, you know, he needs Delver not to flip anyway.
Right.
Okay? He needs Delver not to flip no matter what.
Ponder. All right, so he does have Inkmoth to block, but he is going to take 9 if he doesn't have another answer.
And Josh knows his hand. He knows it's Slagstone Titan.
John has no answer. You can see it's just Slagstone Titan. Right, we know his hand. I can't think of. I'm just looking. I don't see anything that John can do. Yeah, they're going to game 3.
Yeah, if you're gonna cast a spell and hope that Delver doesn't flip, it might as well be Primeval Titan. You're not playing around Rampant Growth anymore at that point. So I think at that point, you know, it's just kind of John needed to step back for a minute and kind of analyze the board.
Yeah,
and see exactly, okay, you know, what avenue do I need to take to be able to win this game? What problems are facing me? You know, what areas of the game do I need to get lucky, or the areas that I can control? So with the sideboarded games, I mean, it looks like Josh is going back to the... I think he's just shuffling. I don't think he's going back to the well, actually.
Yeah, it feels to me like... I mean, the way I see it, the current iteration of Delver, as Josh is playing it, was built as almost its public enemy number 1 being the Wolf Run deck, beyond mirror matches, obviously. But like it was built to say, all right, here's our toughest matchup, or you know, our most likely contender is Wolf Run. let's build a deck to beat Wolf Run. So it's just like, that's what it's built to do. And it's on Wolf Run to adjust. And I don't know that I see it in John's list. I don't see anything in particular that seems to really trump the Delver list.
Yeah, and basically anything that's going like, this is here for this matchup.
Yeah.
There's not a card that stands out like, some people are playing Crushing Vines, some people are playing Combust. There's nothing there that's just going, yep, this is what exactly I'm here to do. It'll be interesting to see what happens this game, because this is a game that I want to review, later when I get back home, that sort of thing, and see if there was an avenue that John could have taken to win. But I know that the one turn that he Huntmastered that he Green Sun's in for Huntmaster instead of just casting Titan because he was scared of Mana Leak. But as I said, if you're gonna run into Mana Leak, it might as well be your better spell at that point. So I think if he would have casted that turn, he would have gained 4 life off of Glimmer Posts, assuming that he searches for him.
Right.
And then his Titan is still in play. It would have never gone away, and then some other things would have happened. Game would have been entirely different. So
this is interesting. Several people on Twitter mentioning this, and this is a rule, like an interaction that I wasn't aware of. A lot of people are saying that the Restoration Angel, the first one that was cast when the only legal target was a Phantasmal Image, apparently the ability is a may, but the targeting part is a must. Like, you have to target it, but you don't have to exile it.
You don't have to use the ability?
Right. Like, so I'm looking at Restoration Angel. It just says you may exile target non-angel creature you control. So, yeah, that's interesting. That's not something that I was aware of, if that's true. Okay. So basically, if you have Phantasmal Image in play and you cast Restoration Angel, apparently and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but this is what Twitter is saying. Several people on Twitter have said, is that it has to target the Phantasmal Image, and of course, upon doing that, the Phantasmal Image dies. Okay. So that's nice. Well, that's a very, very much a Nombo, right? That's a pretty bad interaction for a Delver player to have to kind of work around.
And now that we have Restoration Angel in front of us,
we'll talk about that in the game. Yeah. So it looks like a turn 1 probe from Josh sees Surgical Extraction, Forest, Verdian Emissary, Beast Within, and Green Sun Zenith.
I do not like John's hand. Emissary, Verdian Emissary is one of the cards I hate more than anything because it never does what you want it to do.
There it is.
It's never gonna. It's up to Josh now if he wants that to get a land.
Yeah.
Whereas John needs that to be a land.
It does make for awkward situations, though. Like, I know playing against it, it's like, normally I'm like, maybe I'll take a couple hits, maybe I'll just kill it. But it's like, I don't want to kill it. It makes it real awkward for, like, Josh doesn't want to kill it. Although Josh doesn't have that many kill spells. What's he going to dismember it? No.
John has this crazy option where he can Beast Within it, upgrade it, and get a land.
That's true.
I mean, that's a thing.
He could do that, yeah.
It forces Josh to do something on his turn if he wants to let it happen.
So far no more plays from Josh other than that probe.
2 more.
Emissary gets in.
John just rattling off lands here, so he only had 2 lands to start. He's going to bounce that.
Okay, Vapor Snag. Your Emissary. Now Josh can Beast Within here. No,
he's just.
And John, quick. He's like, every time you Vapor Snag,
come on, buddy.
I am going to surgically
Wait till that draw step. Wait till that draw step. Get your value.
Apparently, on Moto, that interaction on Moto, you have to choose a target if there is one, and then you choose yes or no to using it. Okay, so that's interesting.
The other thing that I was going to bring up, as John is going through the deck here,
we can
to get those out.
Talk about this a little bit.
When we were talking about during Christian Valenti's match with Restoration Angel and Gideon, Restoration Angel to Gideon to stop the Doomblade, it's only target creature with Restoration Angel, not an angel creature, so you can't do a planeswalker.
Right, but Gideon would have been a creature.
Oh,
right? That's
you're
what I mean.
right. You're right. Okay, you win again. All right. Never mind.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. I'm like, there's not some weird wording that this doesn't
No
work,
wonder
right?
no one on Twitter said that was wrong. Yes. Yes, Joey. Yes.
All right, so Ponder from Josh.
So it's going to be interesting to see here. Josh is behind's not the word I want to use, but
He's not really doing very much.
yeah, I don't love what he's doing.
I mean, I guess he's just gotta set things up for himself if he doesn't have any action. So John, Viridian Emissary.
He's back again,
Yeah, looks a little familiar because he's the same one we saw.
and the only one in his deck, and that one's going to get leaked. And he drew Bonfire of the Damned, which, if you know anything about me, there's not a card I hate more than Ramp. But we will talk. We'll talk about that after this match.
Yeah,
I
I'd like to
promise.
hear a little more about
Yeah.
that. People seem to love that card. To $25 worth.
Yeah.
Which kind of shocked me when I saw it.
You and me both, partner. 6 lands.
Ghost Quarter, old school Ghost Quarter.
Ghost Quarter is going to keep Cavern in check, amass the components. Now this is what they want to be doing after Sideboard.
Nice. Okay, so draw 3, put 1 on the bottom.
You know, this is exactly what the Delver deck wants to accomplish, because he's casting amass the components on an empty board.
Yeah.
You know, he's setting everything up the way he wants it. You know, what's the most threatening thing that John can do this turn? Like Lamb Primeval Titan? I'm sure he's very ready for that. Now that's pretty good.
So Beast Within on Josh's Seachrome Coast is currently on the stack. This is at the end of Josh's turn, I believe. We are getting confirmation from Matt Braddock, who is a judge, saying that is how it works.
With the Restoration Angel and Phantasm Image.
Yeah. So that's just something that wasn't caught there. Can't back up into the game, into the earlier game.
So the thing about this Beast Within is this is typically, you know, something that this is a trick that a lot of people use against the blue decks. You Beast Within the thing when they only have 2 mana up, so be able to get a spell through mana leak. Okay, but what's going to make this a little bit worse is that Josh just amassed the components. So whatever John's going to do now, Josh is probably prepared for it. So the fact that he can't mana leak the Titan that maybe John's going to cast, well, it doesn't matter because he's probably got a Phantasmal Image. Or, you know, something to the effect of...
Right, he's just drawn 3 cards,
yeah, it's just something like, I don't
he got
care
rid
what
of a
you're
card that
gonna do.
he probably wasn't using, you know?
Yeah.
So, Inferno Titan, kill the beast. Okay, so you Stone Rained me. You Stone Rained me, and you have a 6/6 that otherwise did nothing, because you just...
Now, Inferno Titan was the better of the 2 Titans that he could play, without a doubt. So we're going to have to see what Josh can do, because he doesn't have any snags in his deck.
That's right.
Now, so...
Ponder Seas looked like Land Delver something. I didn't quite catch the last card, but it didn't look that impressive.
Yeah, he shuffled it away fast. And
Delver is not very impressive when your opponent's got
That's true.
Inferno Titan.
The other thing here is that Inferno Titan was actually, like, you know, probably the best thing he could do, because, like, it kind of trumps the image plan. So it's going to take 2 images now to kind of be relevant. Because there are no Vapor Snags to save Josh in this situation.
So, Ponder shuffled those cards away. Josh drew something we couldn't quite see. And now, looks like 3 mana. Not a Geist, because that's there's no white.
Well, he's got 2 mana tap, and 1 for the Ponder.
Oh, you're right, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So it's Snapcaster Ponder. Sorry
So
about
he's
that.
going to cast Ponder again. And I think I know what he's looking for. He's looking for images, or, you know, looking at his list. And there's nothing like an O-ring here. There's no Oblivion Ring or anything. So the way that this game is looking right now, to me, Josh is in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, looks like he has no way to bounce the Titan. And no way to really kill it. Like, he just needs to be able to image it, and can't do that without the actual images. Now, he's got only access to 5 mana, and I think he's got a Consecrated Sphinx in hand. There's the 6th land, which naming Sphinx, I mean, he can name anything, really. I guess whatever he feels like he may need the color for.
Yeah, he's in some serious trouble. Because not only does image do nothing, like it takes 2 images to kill the Titan, because the Titan will just kill the first image with its ability. So it's either 2 images or no images now. And he's going to pump some into the Titan.
So Titan killed the Snapcaster, dealt 2 to Josh, and now is getting in for, looks like, 9?
Yeah.
Putting Josh to 3.
It's an interesting strategy that John's taken, because even though I don't like the timing of his surgical extractions on Vapor Snag, to be able to know right now that he does not have to play around Vapor Snag the rest of the game. Literal no fear of it. So, you know, if he wants to pump in Inferno Titan, you know, if he could Vapor Snag it, if Josh had Vapor Snag, he could pick it up, and then he's like, oh, I can't recast my Inferno Titan this turn. But he doesn't have to even worry about that. He's just like, yeah, I can just drain all my red into it, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. You know, the best that you can do is flash in the Snapcaster Mage now and chump block, and I don't care about that.
Yeah, so it looks like there was some backing up a little bit. I think Josh may have wanted to respond, but then didn't do anything. So I think Inferno Titan ended up getting in for just 8, which should put Josh to 4, because he took 2 already from the Titan, from its attack trigger.
Yeah, 6, 7, yeah, it's going to put him to 4. Snapcaster just gets into play.
So that was what the thinking was about. Maybe he was considering the chump block.
Josh has 1 image. He is desperate to find another one.
Here comes Consecrated Sphinx. What do you think was the logic between him just flashing in Snapcaster at the end of turn for no value? And I mean, is he really trying to go that aggressive? Is he trying to use that Snapcaster as aggression? Because
that's a good question.
I would have thought it would have been better to flash it in and block.
That's a good question.
You know, that saves 8 damage. That's pretty big. It's 2/3 of your life total.
Yeah, Bonfire's going to finish this one off. And he's going to put the damage upstairs as well.
Yeah, so Bonfire and Inferno Titan burning Josh Cho to a crisp, and his first loss of the day, so he is now 3-1. Delver now